each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hello, hello. I'm not expecting anybody. So right now everybody's grilling and eating, getting ready for the 4th of July. The 4th of July. So yeah, it was weird. So yesterday I put out Dragonflower's podcast, and I don't understand, but Facebook declined it. They said it goes against their community standards. So I did a little testing, put out a one for mine to see if it would go through kind of a throwback, and it went. The only difference between that one and any of the other ones is the fact that it's about men's mental health. And that really makes me wonder. So what Facebook just told me was that men's mental health goes against their community standards. So there you go. Now we know. At least we know where they stand on it. Now, you think Mark Zuckerberg wants to confront his own demons? No. No. Not unless it involves an inordinate amount of money. No. Okay. Kitty cat's going crazy. We're getting ready to hit that 3-minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and get going. I'm going to be reading out of the 12 by 12 today. And the thing is I've been going to meetings. Let's do some introductions here. Welcome to Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'll be your host. And if you're here, please say hello. If you're watching the live or the rewatch, you are not required to. You're not required to. You can just sit back, relax, tune out the world, and listen on in. So I've been hearing a lot of the words willpower. Willpower. No, I don't have any. Willpower, man. When it comes to alcohol, I have no willpower over it whatsoever. Right? Now, when it comes to other things, I do have some willpower. But why bother with it? Why should I even bother with it? If I have a higher power that's working in my life, why should I bother with willpower at all? I don't need it. I just don't need it. Now, I'm talking about myself, of course, and you may feel different. It may be different for you. Right? Here's the problem: when people don't say hi, they feel obliged to leave. That's why they don't say hi. See, I don't know this shit. Come on. How the heck did you click on it? Maybe it was an accident. Who knows? I don't know. Practicing step 3 is like the opening of a door to which all appears still closed and locked. All we need is a key and a decision to swing the door open. There is only one key, and it is called willingness. There's only one key. Okay? And it's not acceptance in this case. It's willingness. You have a set of different keys that go to different doors. In this case, the key of willingness, which is the principle behind step 3. Okay? And what we're doing is we're opening a door. We're opening the door that is standing in between me and the sunlight of the spirit. Okay? The door is just an object. It's just so that we know what we have going on. We used to, and I like the way they did this because a lot of times people will use the third step at example as, jumping off a cliff. You're giving up everything. Everything. This is not, this is a black or white situation. There's a lot of gray in AA. The third step is not gray at all. You're either pregnant or you're not. You're either trying to get closer to God or you're not. There's no in-betweens. But we seem to want to dilly-dally around with this step. Do we really want it? What is going on? There were things that were blocking me from the sunlight of the Spirit. And most of it was my pride. I'm like, you know what? If I do that, it's like I already feel weak enough as it is. And if I do that, I'm just going to feel weaker. And I was wrong on that. Hey, Amber, it's good to see you. It is. I missed you today. I'm used to seeing you every day, and Dion's just, I don't know. Once unlocked by willingness, the door opens almost of itself, and looking through it, we shall see a pathway beside which is an inscription. It reads, this is the way to faith that works. In the first two steps, we were engaged in reflection, right? So we were looking back. We were looking back on steps one and two. We kind of needed to, so that we could admit that we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. Well, welcome back to town. I thought you were staying up there because of the dogs. See, I can't even keep track anymore. We saw that we were powerless over alcohol, but we also perceived the faith of some kind, if only in AA itself, was possible to anyone. These conclusions did not require action. They only required acceptance. Now, in the third step, because we talk about the fact that there's no action in the third step, but there is. And it's the third step prayer. It's the action of getting on your knees. Showing some humility in your life. It might rain. I don't know. They'll still set them off. So here's the thing, like all the remaining steps, all the remaining 4 through 12, step 3 calls for affirmative action. There's action in step 3. It just doesn't feel like it, doesn't look like it. You're not writing. You're not giving it. It's a spiritual action. It is done inwardly. It is the removal of your old self. It is saying goodbye, Dion. It was nice knowing you. Hey, Dion, it's nice to meet you. Hello, me. It's me again. Sorry. Little Megadeth. Why not? 4, it is only by action that we can cut away, stop it, kitty, that we can cut away the self-will which has blocked the entry of God, or if you like, a higher power into our lives. Faith, to be sure, is necessary, but faith alone can avail nothing. Faith without works is dead, period. There's no other way. Okay? You're going to go look for other ways. I'm telling you, there isn't. I looked. Please take my experience and understand there isn't. It's either recovery or death. Those are our options. That's it. Fuck the insane asylums and everything else. Death is the final outcome. Okay? Maybe you don't care about your own life yet, which sucks. I hope one day you do. Okay? There was a point in my life where I didn't think that I was worth being around. Okay? And I had to change that. I had to understand that no, I wasn't. That my actions, everything that I was doing was fucking up my family. It was messing with my friends. And beyond that, I was a danger to my own community. Okay? No, don't let Dion watch your kids. No, I wouldn't do that. Not while he's drinking. Right? I couldn't trust myself. I was not trustworthy. Period. Now, does it kind of hurt? I hope so. I hope it hurts to make you move, to do something, to get off your butt. I was listening to somebody, he just kept wanting to interrupt during the meeting. Somebody finally asked him, hey, did you ever buy a big book? No. You know what? And he wasn't sober either. Anyway. We can have faith, yet keep God out of our lives. Therefore, our problem now becomes just and how, by what specific means, shall we let him in? Step 3 represents our first attempt to do this. And here it is. This is why step 3 is so important. Okay? Is it more important than the other steps? I want to say yes. In my experience, are all the steps important? Yes. But this one, if it does not take effect, then it's not going to work. It's just like we must be off the hooch first. We can't have alcohol in us when we start to do this, or it will not take effect. It just won't. Our minds won't let it happen. Once alcohol gets in there, we're not listening to you anymore. We're listening to this. We might nod our heads in agreement, but we're not listening. Step 3 represents our first. In fact, the effectiveness of the whole AA program will rest upon how well and earnestly we have tried to come to a decision to turn our will and our lives over the care of God as we understand Him. The rest of your program depends on this step. You cannot do a step 4 until you have completed step 3. It won't work. You already have a hard enough time. Heck, every person I try to get to do a 4-step, they get mad. And then they find reasons not to meet, or they're okay with the fact that I missed the meeting. No, that's not okay. It's not okay. I keep forgetting to put my cool ass microphone in the picture. There we go. That's good enough. It's because of the way I have my camera. I have to reset my camera and every time and blah. Who cares? Right? I'll go back in a little bit here. All right. No, I don't want to talk about electricity. All right. So how exactly can the willing person continue to turn his will and his life over to a higher power? He made a beginning, we've seen, when he commenced to rely upon AA for the solution of his alcohol problem. Okay? If you're having AA can be your higher power group of drunks. Okay? Just do me a favor and don't make it a doorknob. Do put a little bit of thought into it. Please be mature about it. I wasn't mature the first time about it, and I kind of paid the price. Okay? So my first higher power was Batman. Let me tell you something, I was just fucking around. No, you can't do that. Here comes the rain again. I don't have to go out and cook now. Yeah, I do. By now, though, the chances are that he has become convinced that he has more problems than alcohol. and that some of these refuse to be solved by all the sheer personal determination and courage he can muster. Whew! Yeah, we're going to try and tackle those problems, and you're going to fall flat on your face with your self-help books because you don't know how to help yourself yet. Self-help books do not work unless you know how to help yourself. They're for the individual alone. That's not us. That's not us. Okay? We are more than that. Okay? This isn't, AA is not self-help. AA is help yourself. Help yourself, please. It's a frickin' buffet. But I ain't serving you. You got to get up and get your own dang food. That's the difference. That's the difference. You got to have skin in the game, or it won't. It's not going to happen. Think about this shit. Well, I'm not allowed to use my brain. Just shut up and think about it. Okay? Oh, if I take this drink, this is what will happen. But I want you to go the step further. If I don't take this drink, what will happen? Ask yourself that instead. Because the other question doesn't, what would happen? This, and this. Am I willing to deal with those consequences? Yes. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. We're the fuckets. Instead, what would happen if I didn't take that drink? That is a different intention. That means you're telling your brain, we're not drinking. I'm telling you, it'll change things. So by all the sheer personal determination and courage he can muster, they simply will not budge. They will make him desperately unhappy and threaten his newfound sobriety. Okay, what are we talking about? Let's just call a spade a spade. You have a spiritual malady. You must fix your spiritual malady first. Period. The first thing we have to do is get you off the hooch or drugs, or put you in a place where you are no longer have access to your ism, so that we can clear up your mind. Then we can start to get to work. Right? But an alcoholic in his cups cannot take step one. They can start to touch the step before the steps, which is the psychic change. Okay? A lot of people stay in the psychic change. Does a psychic change come with a spiritual experience? Not usually. People connect them quite often, but you did not have a spiritual experience that sent you in here, probably. Some people did. Most of us do not. So call a spade a spade. The psychic change, because I'll tell you why we like to connect it, because we like to make it bigger than what it is. And it is not any bigger than that. It is just the psychic change. There is so much power in that. We don't need to make it any more than what it is. We are alcoholics. We are extremists by nature. So remember that. We tend to overdo everything. Bitterness still overpowers him when he broods upon those he still envies or hates. His financial insecurity worries him sick, and panic takes over when he thinks of all the bridges to safety that alcohol burned behind him. And how shall he ever straighten out that awful jam that cost him the affection of his family and separated him from them? His lone courage and unaided will cannot do it. Surely he must now depend on something or somebody else. Today is the first day that I'm ever celebrating the 4th of July with my son. sometimes it takes time. Ah, a little bit longer, because the good stuff's coming up. Fuck, Amber, I should have just called. Well, no, there's a bunch of rewatchers. I have a ton of rewatchers that I can guarantee they're gonna rewatch this one. So now I'm going to go towards the end here. Then it is explained that the other steps of AA program can be practiced with success only when step 3 is given a determined and persistent trial. Yeah. I have found, because see, that something needs to happen in that step 3. Okay? There's going to be a change that happens. This is usually when I see a spiritual experience happen. Okay? But we have to say, yes, God, you need to take this, because what we are getting ready to do next is going to be huge. We're about to swallow some pretty hard truths about ourselves. And we're going to need God on our side so that he can explain to us, no, Dion, you're worth more than you think. And that's what step 3 is about. Stop determining your self-worth. You don't even know what it is yet. I've gotten to a point in my life where I understand what God is saying now. I understand when he said, Dion, yes, you are worthy. I get it now. And now it's just a part of my life, an everyday part of my life. I have replaced alcohol with God. I replaced the devil with God. Period. That's what I did. And my life changed. I became the astute person that I should have been. Okay? Now, am I going to beat up on myself about that? I used to, but not anymore. Why? Because I did a solid step 3. Okay? This statement may surprise newcomers who have experienced nothing but constant deflation and growing conviction that the human will is of no value whatsoever. They have become persuaded, and rightly so, that many problems besides alcohol will not yield to a headlong assault powered by the individual alone. He won't. So the person that kept interrupting, right, and I don't know why this took 10 minutes, but he said, what's the first word in the big book? I don't know. And he didn't know. He was drunk. And somebody tried to tell him that it was war. I'm like, no, that's chapter 1. The first word is we. We of Alcoholics Anonymous. We. Our steps start with we. The reason your problems are that way is because you don't know how to solve them. I didn't know how to solve them yet. I do now. All by himself and in the light of his own circumstances, he needs to develop the quality of willingness. When he acquires willingness, he is the only one that can make the decision to exert himself. Trying to do this is an act of his own will. All of the 12 steps require sustained and personal exertion to conform to their principles, and so we trust to God's will. Yes, and that is when you're going to take all the willpower that you have and you're going to apply it to God. Okay? Now you're in God's will. Now you're in God's will. And when we're there, well, here, I'll read it. And I'll tell you. When we begin to make our will conform with God's, that we begin to use it rightly. See, I've been using my willpower incorrectly. What willpower I did have, I was using wrong. I was trying to take my personal willpower unaided to tackle problems that I couldn't even begin to understand. When really what I needed to do is take that willpower and say, cheers, God. Why not add power to the power that is helping you, that is helping you to create a new life for yourself and a new life for everybody around you? To all of this was the most wonderful revelation. Our whole trouble had been the misuse of willpower. We had tried to bombard our problems with it instead of attempting to bring it into agreement with God's intention for us. Yeah. I know that sounds, you know what? There's freedom in that whole thing. It's pure freedom. Okay. But we have been trying to bombard our problems. But instead, we need to come into an agreement that is happening. And now that we are solution people, okay, I've been doing this stuff for a while. I still reach out to other people when I have things going on. I don't try and do it myself. No. There's never a point in this when you start doing it alone. There never is. Okay? To make this increasingly possible is the purpose of AA's 12 steps. And step 3 opens the door. Once we have come into agreement with these ideas, it is really easy to begin the practice of step 3. In all times of emotional disturbance or indecision, we can pause, ask for quiet, and the stillness simply say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, not mine, be done. That's how you start your day over. That's how you let go of that. This thing is disturbing me. I can't do anything about it right now. God, could you please take it? I need some delayed gratification here. Delayed gratification. Just get used to it. Be okay with it. Once you're okay with delayed gratification, you can accept it for what it is. The amount of freedom that is going to come into your life will be insubstantial. You will not be able to count it. You will not be able to put your finger on it. You will need to accept it for what it exactly is. Love. It's all love. Unconditional love. All right. Well, I'm gonna go hang out with the kids and the grandkid and my niece. She's here too. My niece. So she's like a daughter to me. I have a lot of like daughters. Huh? You too. Yeah, and me too. Made me, once I found out that I didn't have to go to church and start speaking in tongues and doing all that other stuff, that it was a personal relationship between me and him, that changed a lot of things for me. Because God will meet you where you're at. If you're trying to get to him, if you are trying to seek him, he will come to you. But got to ask first. And you got to ask the right way. And you got to throw a little humility in there. Right? Pray correctly. When you pray, we don't do demands. All right. I'm going to let everybody go off and do whatever, Dion. I've got a lot of things on my mind, so. All right. Thank you. I love you. Thank you for hanging out with me, Amber. It was good to see you. Peace out. I love you all.